Hi, this is Dr. Susan Blumberg, and this is my Monday Facebook Live here on Path to Parenting Harmony. Thank you for joining me. Today, I'm going to do the first of a three-part series here in the group on the homework hole. And I want to say thanks to the New York Times, which last Sunday posted a wonderful article on this topic by Lisa D'Amour. And I'm using some of their material to set me off on this really good topic that a lot of us are dealing with our teens and tweens right now. So what is the homework hole? You all know what this is. Our kids are a few assignments behind. Just a few missing assignments. And what's our response? To nag them to get it done. Come on, it's just 2 or 3 assignments. Just finish them and turn them in. And boom, there we are in the homework hole. The reality is it's probably not just laziness and a lack of motivation. It might be. And if so, you're lucky. And maybe just a day or 2 of nagging will fix the problem. But more likely, it's one of a few other problems, and we're going to discuss that today. First possible problem, mental health. This year, the year of the pandemic, has been a crisis for mental health in 10 to 20-year-olds. It has been seen in article after article and study after study that our kids are really suffering. The social isolation, yes, they're talking to their friends over text messages and maybe even over Zoom or Skype or through other means, but it's not the same. Our kids are not doing well being stuck in their bedrooms and being stuck in their houses. I mean, when the weather was nicer, maybe they got out to the park with a mask on, but they couldn't hug, they couldn't even sit next to each other. And I don't know about you, but in Denver, Colorado, where I am, we had an official, are you ready? 29 inches of snow in the last 2 days. It's cold and terrible outside. Though today we have blue skies. My husband just shoveled 18 inches of snow off my front walks. So, lack of peer relationships, lack of being able to get away from mom and dad, get out and do their own thing as kids and teenagers. Our kids are struggling with depression, with anxiety. And this is leading to suicidal thinking and to suicidal behavior. And so this is causing kids to not be interested or even able to do their schoolwork. A second issue, which is even less understood, is our kids aren't used to using their computers the way they have to now. It's one thing to sit down and write a paper on Google Drive or even on Word, but it is not the same as having to, 1, use email. Our kids are not used to email. Now, we in our offices, we might send dozens, hundreds. Some of us might send thousands of emails over the course of a week. I have thousands of unread ones over the course of this past year. Junk mail, newsletters I get, ads that I receive that I haven't even signed up for, that I just shuffle aside and try to get to the 100 useful emails I need to read on a daily basis. Our kids are not used to that. And so they're having to get their assignment on PowerSchool or Google Classroom or Schoolology or Infinite Campus. Then they're having to transfer that to Google Drive, where they might actually be writing their essay, or some other proprietary program that their school has instituted. For young kids, it might be Seesaw in the elementary level. And then they're having to go to Google Classroom and transfer their work and push submit. It's a multitude of steps, and our kids are struggling with that. Plus, waiting to sort through those emails to see if their teacher has written back to them. Or if they're having difficulty, figure out who to write that email to, and then wait for an answer before they can get back to the next step. This is a process that our kids are not used to. And whether they're in elementary, middle, or high school doesn't matter. They have not learned how to process so many programs so many times a day. This is a struggle for our kids. A third issue that we have not dealt with much is the issue of empathy. Are you showing empathy for these struggles that our kids are having? Mental health issues, struggling with their devices, struggling with having to learn all these new programs. What does empathy mean? Empathy means being able to put yourself in another person's shoes, seeing things through their eyes. Now, we're feeling stressed ourselves. We all had to go to work remotely. Perhaps some schools are reopening. Perhaps some offices are starting to reopen now that we're getting vaccinated, but it's not much and it's not happening quickly. And so we're having to balance our needs as adults and our own emotional regulation with what's happening for our kids. And our patience is very thin. And so being able to maintain our emotional regulation and take care of ourselves, our own self-care, has really struggled this past year. But we have to maintain our calm and our cool and take care of our kids, whose own emotional dysregulation has all fallen apart. That empathy is critical. Getting angry with our kids, getting angry because they're falling apart, is not going to help the situation. And yet many of us are struggling with that this year as well. The fourth area I want to talk about now is executive functioning. Some of our kids were really just getting by in this area even before the pandemic. Executive functioning means how to get stuff done. Do we actually do a good job of that ourselves? We've all had to flip from offices where perhaps we had secretaries, perhaps we had executive assistants who handled the plethora of phone calls, who sorted our mail, who handled those pesky emails. Now we have kids who never had to handle this stuff before, whose teachers printed out the tests for them and scored them and managed some of this behind-the-scenes stuff. Now we're handling it ourselves for our jobs. What about our kids handling their own time management? Were your kids good at that before the pandemic? I'm going to guess a lot of you are going to say no or just barely got by. And now in the pandemic, our kids are doing even more poorly. And we're having to manage our home lives, our own work lives, and we're having to do that executive functioning for our kids. Now, in my own family, I used to get really frustrated because I have a husband with ADHD, a son with ADHD, and a daughter with autism and nonverbal learning disability. None of them had great executive functioning skills. I am the frontal lobe for my family. That meant I did the grocery shopping, or at least wrote the lists. I had to organize our family calendar and all the appointments we had. I had to organize when the house got cleaned. They did the work. We all had our own chores, but I am the organizer. And now when we all four were working from home during the pandemic, one son in college, one daughter in pastry school, a husband with a job, and me having my work, wow, executive functioning was at a premium in my house. I bet it was the same in yours. So for today, what I want to leave you with is thinking about that homework hole once again. When your teen is struggling with turning in those assignments, I want you to be thinking about how hard that has been and whether any of these four issues, the empathy, the executive functioning, the mental health issues, and the struggle dealing with these multiple programs that your kid has never had to deal with before. Perhaps sitting down and talking with your teen, how has these things been affecting them, might be the way to go. Have that conversation and then come back to the group and tell me how it went. I think we could all, as a group, benefit from some parent-to-parent discussion of those issues. But I have a couple other things to offer you as well. This Thursday night at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, I'll be offering a free parenting workshop called How to Help Your Kids Get Stuff Done. Wow, executive functioning. It's free to all parents. It's almost filled up. Only 18 slots left out of 48. It's going fast. Please register soon, and I'll look forward to seeing you there. I'll be presenting a lot of useful information on helpful ways to get your family better executive functioning skills. Plus, we'll have a whole half hour for open coaching. Bring your burning questions, and I'll be providing some one-on-one coaching right there in the workshop. Plus, in the group, Path to Parenting Harmony, write your questions right after this Facebook Live, and I'll be happy to answer your questions in this group on a daily basis. That's what it's for. But if you'd like a little more individualized attention, please just message me. We can set up a free Make a Difference call. No obligation, just to discuss what the next steps would be to help your family. So I hope this discussion has been helpful to you. I'll look forward to more discussion of the homework hole next Monday in my next Facebook Live. Have a great day. Bye.